Hello and welcome, weary traveler, to a journey through the quiet currents of time. As the world outside perhaps hums with its endless pace, we invite you to settle in, find comfort, and allow your mind to drift. Tonight, we will embark on a tranquil exploration of a civilization long past, a world of sun-drenched landscapes, enduring beliefs, and the quiet rhythms of life along a mighty river. Close your eyes if you wish, or simply allow your gaze to soften. Let go of the day's concerns and imagine, just for a moment, that the distant whispers you hear are not the sounds of your present, but the faint echoes of an ancient dawn. We will journey back to the fertile lands of ancient Egypt, to a time of pharaohs and pyramids, but our focus will be far more intimate. We will delve into the daily lives of its people, the humble routines that shape their days, the sensory tapestry of their existence, and the enduring human spirit that permeated every aspect of their world. Our path will be unhurried, our observations gentle, designed to guide you not into a state of active alertness, but into one of deep relaxation, where the past unfolds like a calming dream. So, breathe deeply, release the tension from your shoulders, and prepare to step softly into the sands of time. Imagine yourself now, not in your modern setting, but lying on a simple reed mat within a small, sun-baked mud brick home. The air, even in the stillness of pre-dawn, holds a certain warmth, a faint scent of dry earth mingled with the residue of last night's cooking fire. There are no alarms to jar you awake, only the slow, imperceptible brightening of the eastern sky, and perhaps the first distant call of a bird. This is Kemet, the Black Land, nourished by the annual inundation of the Nile. Your home is part of a small village, nestled close to the river's life-giving embrace. As the first true light filters through the doorway, painting the interior walls with soft, sandy hues, the world outside begins its gradual awakening. You can hear the rustle of straw as your family stirs, the soft murmurs of voices, the gentle bleating of a goat, or the distant bray of a donkey. Life here, for the vast majority of Egyptians, is inextricably linked to the rhythms of the Nile. Your day, like the days of your ancestors for countless generations, is dictated by the sun's ascent and the river's ebb and flow. There is a quiet beauty in this predictability, a deep-seated connection to the earth and its enduring cycles. As you rise, the cool clay floor beneath your bare feet offers a brief, welcome contrast to the warming air. A simple breakfast awaits, perhaps flatbread, made from emmer wheat, ground with tireless effort, and a handful of dates, sweet and nourishing. Washed down with a draught of cool water drawn from the village well, or perhaps a small portion of weak beer, a staple of every meal, offering both sustenance and a measure of hydration in the dry climate. The sounds of the village slowly increase as the sun climbs higher, the distant murmur of conversation, the rhythmic thud of a pestle against a mortar as someone grinds grain, the contented clucking of chickens. Children, though they will soon be tasked with small chores, enjoy these early moments of freedom, their soft laughter carrying on the gentle breeze. Soon, it is time for work. If you are a farmer, your destination is the fertile fields just beyond the village's edge. The path, worn smooth by generations of footsteps, leads you past other small homes, past the communal oven where the day's bread will be baked, and out into the vast, open land. The air grows warmer now, carrying the faint, earthy scent of damp soil and the fresh aroma of growing crops. The work is demanding, certainly, but it is also a dance with the land. During the planting season, you might be guiding a wooden plow, pulled by oxen, through the dark, rich earth left behind by the receding floodwaters. The feel of the warm, newly turned soil beneath your feet, the steady pull of the animal, the rhythmic sound of the plow cutting through the earth, these are the sensations that define your working day. Perhaps you are sowing seeds, scattering them with a practiced hand across the prepared furrows, a hopeful gesture towards the harvest to come. In other seasons, the tasks might shift. During the time of growth, there is the meticulous work of irrigation, guiding precious water from the canals to nourish the thirsty plants. Imagine the sight of the water, shimmering silver in the sunlight, slowly spreading across the fields, soaking into the earth, bringing life. And during the harvest, the air fills with the rustle of ripe grain, the steady swish of sickles, and the calls of your fellow villagers as you work together under the unwavering Egyptian sun. The dust, dry and fine, settles on your skin, a constant companion. If your hands are more suited to craft, perhaps you are a potter. Your workshop might be a simple, open-sided shelter, offering meager shade. Here the air is thick with the scent of damp clay. The rhythmic hum of your pottery wheel becomes a soothing drone as you center the earth, shaping it with skilled hands into vessels for grain, water, or oil. The coolness of the wet clay, the feeling of it yielding and transforming under your touch, is a quiet satisfaction. The sun, though warm on your back, is a constant, steady presence, drying your finished pieces as they wait for the firing kilns. Midday approaches, bringing with it the most intense heat. Work slows, perhaps pauses entirely. You seek what shade you can find, leaning against a mud brick wall or beneath a sparse acacia tree. A simple meal might be shared. More bread, perhaps some dried fish, or lentils stewed with herbs. The conversation is low, practical, about the fields, the river, the small concerns of the day. The sounds are hushed. The world seems to hold its breath under the searing sun. Even the distant call of a heron feels attenuated, softened by the heat. As the sun begins its slow descent in the western sky, painting the clouds with hues of orange and purple, the work resumes its intensity, but with a renewed, gentle energy. The long shadows stretch across the fields, offering a slight reprieve from the direct glare. The air begins to cool, imperceptibly at first, then more noticeably as the sun dips closer to the horizon. Finally, as dusk gathers, you make your way back to your village. The scent of wood smoke now mingles with the earthy smells, as cooking fires are lit in every home. The sounds of children playing, now less constrained by the heat, become more distinct. The lowing of cattle, the chatter of returning villagers, the distant barking of dogs. These are the sounds of evening settling over Kemet. Within your home, the family gathers. A simple evening meal, perhaps more substantial than breakfast, shared communally from a central dish. There is conversation, soft and easy, stories perhaps, or lessons for the younger ones. As the stars begin to prick through the deepening indigo sky, casting a faint, ethereal light, the village prepares for rest. The sounds gradually fade, replaced by the chirping of crickets, the gentle murmur of the Nile in the distance, and the deep, silent breath of the desert night. This is the rhythm of their lives, a constant struggle, yes, against the capriciousness of the flood, the threat of drought, the daily demands of survival. But also a profound connection to the land, to family, and to the enduring cycle of life and death, perpetually renewed by the generous spirit of the Nile. As the final stars appear, painting the vast, dark canopy above, you find your own peace, your own rhythm in this ancient land, and drift toward a well-earned rest. As the sun continues its slow journey across the heavens, our focus gently shifts from the fertile fields and humble homes to a different corner of Egyptian society. Imagine leaving behind the sun-drenched fields and stepping now into the cooler, shadowed interiors of a temple complex, or perhaps a bustling administrative office in a city like Thebes. Here, a different rhythm dictates the day, the quiet, meticulous rhythm of the scribe. Literacy in ancient Egypt was a rare and treasured skill, a gateway to power, influence, and a life beyond the demanding toil of the land. The path to becoming a scribe was long and arduous, often beginning in early childhood. Picture a young boy, perhaps just 5 or 6 years old, leaving the comfort of his home to attend the House of Life, a temple school dedicated to the cultivation of knowledge. His days would be filled with rigorous discipline. Imagine him sitting on the cool stone floor, hunched over ostraca, pottery shards or limestone flakes, using a simple reed brush and a palette of red and black ink. His first lessons would be to copy, endlessly, the same lines, the same hieroglyphic signs, until his hand moved with instinctive precision. The faint, earthy scent of the ink, the steady scratching sound of hundreds of reed brushes on rough surfaces, the low murmur of his teacher's instructions. These would be the constant companions of his early education. He would learn not just to write, but to read, to understand the intricate nuances of sacred texts, administrative documents, and literary works. He would master mathematics, essential for calculating grain yields, measuring land, and overseeing grand construction projects. He would study law, astronomy, and the vast pantheon of Egyptian gods. It was an education designed to shape not just a penman, but a custodian of knowledge, a pillar of the state. Years would pass in this painstaking pursuit. The young boy would grow into a man, his mind sharpened, his hands trained, his understanding of the world deepened by the words and figures he had meticulously absorbed. He would graduate perhaps into the service of a temple or join the vast bureaucracy that managed the affairs of the pharaoh and his kingdom. Now, imagine yourself as such a scribe. Your days might begin before dawn, preparing your materials, your reed pens carefully sharpened, your cakes of red and black ink moistened, your rolls of precious papyrus ready. Papyrus, made from the pith of the Nile reed, is a delicate and valuable commodity, its surface smooth and receptive to your meticulous strokes. The subtle rustle of its unfurling, the smooth glide of the brush, are sensory pleasures unique to your profession. Your work could take many forms. Perhaps you are in a temple scriptorium, bathed in the soft, diffused light filtering through high windows. Here your task might be to copy sacred texts, preserving the ancient myths, rituals, and hymns that connect humanity to the divine. The air is still, perhaps carrying the faint scent of incense, and the only sounds are the quiet turn of papyrus rolls and the rhythmic whisper of your brush. Each hieroglyph meticulously drawn is a tiny work of art, imbued with meaning and power. Or perhaps you are in a bustling administrative office, the air thick with the murmur of voices, the clatter of incoming goods, the subtle aroma of dust and humanity. Here, your skills are put to more practical use. You might be recording the tally of grain arriving from the fields, ensuring every measure is accounted for, or drafting official decrees, meticulously detailing new laws or royal pronouncements. Every word, every number must be exact, for the smooth functioning of the entire kingdom rests upon the accuracy of such records. You might even find yourself in the midst of a colossal construction project, the raising of a new pylon for a temple, or the carving of a tomb deep within the Valley of the Kings. Here, amidst the distant sound of chisels striking stone and the shouts of overseers, your role is crucial. You measure, calculate, and record the progress, ensuring that the stone blocks fit perfectly, that the dimensions are precise, that the thousands of laborers are properly provisioned and accounted for. The scale of these endeavors is immense, and your small, precise marks on papyrus are the silent, unseen backbone of their creation. A scribe's life, while free from the backbreaking labor of the fields, carried its own burdens. The weight of responsibility, the constant demand for accuracy, the long hours spent in quiet concentration. Yet it offered profound rewards, intellectual stimulation, a respected position in society, and the deep satisfaction of knowing you were preserving the wisdom of the past, organizing the present, and shaping the future of your civilization. You were the memory of Egypt, the quiet engine of its enduring power. As the day draws to a close and the light within the temple or office dims, you carefully clean your brushes, roll your papyrus, and gather your palette. The sounds of the city outside soften, transitioning from the industrious hum of daytime to the quieter, more reflective sounds of evening. You carry within you the quiet dignity of your profession, the indelible mark of knowledge, and the silent understanding of how words, precisely placed, can build and sustain an empire. From the vibrant, organized world of the living, our journey now takes a turn towards the profound and perhaps the most defining aspect of ancient Egyptian culture: their intricate relationship with death, the afterlife, and the quest for immortality. For the Egyptians, death was not an end, but a transformative passage, a gateway to a new existence. It was a belief system so deeply woven into the fabric of their daily lives that preparations for the eternal journey often began decades before life on Earth concluded. Imagine now stepping away from the sun-drenched fields and bustling offices and entering the cool, still air of a tomb, a carefully prepared chamber, not just for a body, but for a soul's eternal rest. The air here is different, carrying a faint, dry scent, perhaps of ancient dust, or the faint, lingering aroma of the resins and unguents once used in sacred rituals. The silence is profound, broken only by the soft echoes of your own presence. The Egyptians believed that each individual possessed a ka, a life force or spiritual double, and a ba, a personality or soul which could leave the body and travel. For these vital components to reunite and for the deceased to become an ak, an effective and blessed spirit in the afterlife, the physical body needed to be preserved. This belief gave rise to the elaborate and meticulously performed ritual of mummification. Consider the process not as a macabre act, but as a deeply spiritual undertaking, a solemn preservation. For 70 days, skilled embalmers, acting as priests, would work with profound reverence. Their goal was to prepare the vessel for eternity. Imagine the body, carefully cleansed, treated with precious natron salt to draw out moisture, then anointed with fragrant oils and resins. These substances, carefully applied, would fill the air with their complex, earthy aromas, creating an almost sacred atmosphere. The internal organs, save for the heart, were carefully removed, preserved in their own canopic jars, each guarded by a specific deity, ready for the reunification of the spiritual self. Once fully prepared and dried, the body would be meticulously wrapped in hundreds of layers of fine linen bandages. Each strip was applied with precision, often accompanied by protective amulets placed between the layers, charged with magical properties to safeguard the deceased on their perilous journey. The finished mummy, serene and perfectly preserved, was a testament to their unwavering belief in an afterlife. The tomb itself was conceived as an eternal dwelling, a protective sanctuary for the journey ahead. For pharaohs and nobles, these were not merely burial sites, but elaborate subterranean palaces or vast rock-cut chambers, often decorated with breathtaking artistry. Imagine the walls, meticulously smoothed and then painted with vibrant scenes. These were not simply pretty pictures. They were carefully chosen narratives, spells and incantations from the Book of the Dead, designed to guide the deceased through the treacherous underworld, maps of the Duat, the realm of the dead, and depictions of the deceased enjoying an idealized afterlife in the field of reeds, a paradise of endless bounty. Within the tomb, the deceased would be surrounded by their possessions, not merely symbols of earthly wealth, but practical provisions for their eternal existence. Think of the carefully crafted furniture, the stacks of linen, the jars of food and wine, the intricate jewelry, and perhaps the Ushabti figures, miniature servants enchanted to come to life and perform tasks for the deceased in the afterlife. Each item, carefully placed, spoke of a profound hope for continuation, for a life of comfort and joy beyond the veil of death. The burial itself was a grand and solemn procession. The mummy, encased in its beautifully decorated coffins and sarcophagus, would be drawn on a sled by oxen, accompanied by wailing mourners, offering prayers and lamentations. Priests, wearing the masks of gods like Anubis, would perform rituals, reciting incantations, ensuring the spiritual pathways were open. The most crucial ritual was the opening of the mouth ceremony, performed just before the sarcophagus was sealed. This symbolic act was believed to reanimate the senses of the mummy, allowing the ka and ba to enter and exit the body, to breathe, to see, to speak, and to eat offerings. Once sealed, the tomb would become a place of silent vigil. For centuries, offerings of food, drink, and incense would be brought by family members and priests to the tomb chapel, providing sustenance for the deceased's ka. The memory of the individual, reinforced by their preserved body and the carefully curated contents of their tomb, was believed to ensure their eternal existence. This profound cultural emphasis on death was not born of morbid fascination, but of a deep love for life and an unshakable faith in its continuation. It was a comforting belief, one that shaped every decision, every artistic creation, and every significant undertaking in ancient Egypt. As you contemplate the stillness within these ancient chambers, you sense not an end, but an eternal promise, a quiet testament to the enduring human longing for immortality. The air here, though silent, pulses with the echoes of ancient prayers and the unwavering hope for a life beyond the horizon. As our journey through ancient Egypt unfolds, we have glimpsed the steadfast rhythms of the farmer, bound to the earth and the Nile, and the quiet dedication of the scribe, immersed in the world of words and administration. Now let us expand our view to encompass the broader spectrum of Egyptian society, drawing a gentle contrast between the humble daily life we first explored and the more refined, perhaps more opulent existence of the noble and elite. Imagine now stepping away from the modest village and into the sprawling grounds of a noble's estate. This is not a simple mud brick home, but a small complex in itself, enclosed by high walls that offer privacy and protection. The air here carries different scents, perhaps the sweet perfume of cultivated flowers from meticulously designed gardens, the cool freshness of water from a central fountain, or the delicate aroma of spiced meals being prepared in distant kitchens. The main residence is a much grander structure, often built of a finer quality mud brick, perhaps even with painted plaster walls. It boasts multiple rooms, designed for comfort and varied activities. Picture open courtyards where the family might gather, rooms dedicated to dining, sleeping, or entertaining. The floors might be covered with woven mats, and the walls adorned with vibrant frescoes depicting scenes of feasting, hunting, or serene garden landscapes. Light filters in through cleverly placed windows, creating a soft, inviting glow within. Life here is supported by a large household of servants, craftsmen, and administrators. You might hear the distant sounds of a weaver at their loom, producing fine linen garments, or the quiet activity of bakers preparing elaborate breads and pastries. The daily routines of the noble are far removed from the physical demands of the common worker. Instead, their days are filled with oversight of their vast land holdings, administrative duties, receiving visitors, and engaging in more refined leisure activities. Consider their meals. While the farmer's diet centered on bread, beer, and perhaps a few vegetables or dried fish, the noble's table offered a far greater bounty. Imagine platters laden with roasted meats, perhaps beef, goat, or fowl, alongside a rich variety of fresh fruits like figs, grapes, and pomegranates. Vegetables, pulses, and cheeses would be readily available, and for beverages, there would be not just beer, but a selection of fine wines, often stored in large, sealed amphorae. The sounds at mealtime would be soft, contented murmurs, perhaps accompanied by the gentle strumming of a harp or the clear notes of a lute played by a household musician. Their attire, too, speaks of their elevated status. While the common Egyptian wore simple, functional linen garments, often unbleached, the noble would adorn themselves in finely woven, bleached white linen, draped elegantly and sometimes pleated with intricate precision. Elaborate jewelry, collars of semi-precious stones, gold bracelets and rings would gleam against their skin. Wigs, artfully styled from human hair or plant fibers, would be worn by both men and women, often adorned with fragrant cones of perfumed fat that would slowly melt, releasing their scent throughout the day. The preparation for the day, with servants assisting in bathing, anointing with oils, and applying kohl around the eyes, would be a leisurely ritual in itself. Leisure time for the elite offered different pleasures. Imagine them strolling through their lush, manicured gardens, shaded by date palms and sycamore trees, enjoying the tranquility of reflecting pools filled with lotuses. Or perhaps they would be engrossed in a game of Senet, a popular board game, its pieces meticulously carved from wood or ivory. Banquets were common, lively affairs with copious food and drink, musical performances and dancing, all designed to entertain and solidify social bonds. Even hunting, a practical necessity for some, became a refined sport for the noble, often conducted from chariots in the desert fringes. Yet even within this life of apparent ease, there was a constant awareness of duty and responsibility. The noble was ultimately responsible for the welfare of the vast workforce on their estate, for maintaining order, and for contributing to the pharaoh's grand projects. Their abundance was not simply for indulgence, but often served to sustain the intricate social and religious structures of the land. The contrast between these two lives, the farmer tied to the soil, his life a testament to resilience and hard work, and the noble presiding over their estate, their days marked by leisure and administration, highlights the layered complexity of ancient Egyptian society. Both existed within the enduring embrace of the Nile, both revered the same gods, and both ultimately looked to the same afterlife. But their earthly journeys, their daily experiences, were painted with very different hues, creating a rich tapestry of human existence under the watchful eye of the enduring sun. As the echoes of ancient Egypt begin to softly recede, we bring our tranquil journey to a gentle close. We have wandered through sun-baked fields, felt the cool touch of clay, experienced the quiet dedication of the scribe, and glimpsed the contrasting worlds of the humble villager and the distinguished noble. We have stood in the stillness of tombs, touched by the profound belief in an eternal journey, and listened to the timeless rhythms that shaped lives along the great Nile. What we have seen is not just a collection of historical facts, but a tapestry woven from the threads of human experience, the universal quest for sustenance, the solace of family, the dignity of work, the comfort of belief, and the longing for peace. These are currents that flow through every era, connecting us across the vast expanse of time. The ancient Egyptians, in their daily routines and their grand aspirations, were not so different from ourselves. They sought purpose, found joy in simple pleasures, and navigated the challenges of their world with resilience and an unwavering spirit. As the last remnants of this ancient landscape fade from your mind's eye, allow the calming essence of this journey to settle within you. The steady flow of the Nile, the quiet determination of its people, the enduring silence of their monuments. May these images bring a profound sense of tranquility. The world outside may still hum, but here, in this quiet space, time has gently folded in upon itself, revealing the persistent beauty of the past. As the warmth of your present comfort embraces you, perhaps you can feel a subtle kinship with those who lived so long ago, under a similar sky, guided by the same sun and stars. Let any remaining tension melt away, like the desert mist at dawn. Allow your breathing to deepen, to lengthen, drawing in quietude with each breath. The journey is complete, the stories told, and the gentle whispers of the past now invite you to rest. Drift softly now into the comforting embrace of the present moment, carrying with you the peace of a civilization that understood, perhaps better than any, the enduring power of serenity and the promise of a peaceful night.